Sousa Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. Ulike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are back. We're back from Frisco, Big 12 Media Days, where there was a whole lot going on, and we have it all to share with you today. Scotty Swingler riding shotgun on this wonderful joyride that we call the Pete Sousa Show. Scotty B, by the way, is already in the comments saying that he has clarity on Baylor wide receiver Ashton Hawkins and his eligibility. I'd love to get some more on that, Scotty. If you can elaborate, and then we can maybe double or triple check it to make sure it's real before we go with it. But certainly interested to find out anything more on that. As you guys know about Ashton, he had his eligibility extended because of that JUCO rule. Scotty, can you put the camera down just a tiny bit? There's a touch. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Your mom.
He's Scott. Scotty Swingler is giving me attitude, while Scotty B is giving us scoops. So that's kind of the opposite of what we thought. Perfect. You just got to get that Eagles helmet to the bottom. There we go. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics. Of course, Crawford Austin Properties, Socorro Family Ford, and Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. Where's my Daniel Stark cup? I'll tell you what. We may have to shut this studio down. I can't. I mean, look. First of all, I'm not the most attractive guy in the world, and I have a little makeup pad that I put on. I can't find that, so that's missing. I have a Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers mug, which is kind of part of our sponsorship here. So to have that on the desk would be nice, right? No, it's not Scotty's fault, but everybody's in here. Oh, there it is. Did you put that up there? You son of a bitch. See, I was hoping that I was bitching about somebody else than Scotty. But now that's over with. I found the cup.
It looked good up there. It was up there behind you. Right?
Maybe we will put it back up there. But yeah, so anyways, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, of course, we love you. Yesterday at Big 12 Media Days, it was really cool to be up there. It was great to get a ton of feedback from folks up there about our show. People are watching. People are appreciating it. They love the Big 12 content. And it's cool for the Rogue Media Network. You know, we were up there yesterday. 365 Sports was up there. David Smoke, of course, Faith Lynch, the whole crew, Paul Catalina.
Not the whole crew.
Not the whole crew, because Scotty wasn't there. But somebody had to man the fort. Matt Mosley was there. We're excited about some stuff we got going on with Mose going forward. So it's a ton to be excited about. Corey Dickman, our fearless leader, was there. Corey actually had to run out to get a power cord at some point during the day, but that is how we roll. Okay, so let's get back to the issue at hand. Media days, right? First things first, Brett Yormark, our commissioner of the Big 12, right? He took over in July of 2022. Now, since Brett Yormark has taken over the Big 12, and I want you to think about this because all this was being talked about yesterday, and I was really able to conceptualize the progress of the conference. When you look at when Yormark starts as Big 12 commissioner, he is taking on a conference where Oklahoma and Texas are departing in 1 year. Now, everyone is asking Brett Yormark the question at the time, this is 3 years ago, what are you going to do when Oklahoma and Texas leave? How are you going to be relevant, right? And that was a relevant question. And now, time has proven that Brett Yormark had the answer to that question. Not only was Colorado already coming into the conference, right, when Brett Yormark took over. He'll be very quick to tip the cap to Bob Bowlesby and say, he was primarily responsible for that. But also, when you look at the cultural relevance of the conference, right, being there yesterday, being around the Big 12, you feel like you're a part of something that is important. Coach Prime will be there today, and folks are so excited about his arrival. Also, with Colorado, you lose those two big guns, right? Those two weapons, but when we talk about Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, but everybody's talking about how Colorado has gotten so much better up front in the trenches. And that's just an example of not only is Colorado, were they really good last year, but with the absence of Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, I believe that Colorado continues to matriculate, right, and get better and better where it matters, in the trenches. We'll talk about Baylor and their ability in the trenches. But so Brett Yormark talks about yesterday to the media, we want multiple bids from the Big 12 in the college football playoff. And that is such a reality. Yesterday, and this goes back to the relevance and where the conference is. Yesterday, I could have talked to anybody about Texas Tech for 45 minutes, right? That is not a situation that was present 3 years ago. Being able to talk about Baylor, right, at length, right, like as a real contender. Being able to talk about Kansas State as a real contender once again. we didn't do the preseason poll, and I'll talk about what the commissioner said regarding that in a moment, but Kansas State, one of the best odds to win the Big 12. Utah is going to be back, right? When you just look at the body of work from Kyle Whittingham, there's no question that odds are, and conventional wisdom tells you, with Devin Dampier and that black cloud of Cam Rising injury departing from Salt Lake City, you've got a lot to be excited about if you're a Utah fan. BYU, same deal. Jake Retzlaff, I mean, there's still question marks around the whole Jake Retzlaff situation, and we'll talk about that in the next block, but there's just so many teams in the Big 12 that will vie for the Big 12 Conference Championship and an appointment back in Arlington at Jerry World to play for the Conference Championship. But I think all the teams that we're talking about with the possibility of getting into the Big 12 Championship, I think they all have the possibility of getting into the Big 12 playoff, the college football playoff. Which brings me to the next point about the revealing quote that Brett Yormark had yesterday about the college football, about preseason rankings. And we've talked a lot about, it's kind of a bummer that they're doing away with preseason rankings just because of the excitement. But I mean, that was quickly snuffed out. Just being around it and being around the excitement and being around, everybody's got a prediction, right? Everybody thinks they know what's going to happen. Everybody wants to weigh in and give their guess. But when it comes down to the reality of these votes, right, for these preseason polls, the commissioner said yesterday, we felt like it put Arizona State behind the 8 ball. And it really hurt Arizona State later in the season because of the fact that they were ranked in the bottom of the Big 12 to start everything on. My mic isn't working, Scotty. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. What's wrong?
I'm going to figure it out during the break.
All right, let's go to break. We'll take a quick break. The mic isn't working. We'd like to thank our #1 fan for weighing in on that. I love you, and she is a woman, and she is my fiance, if you could hear that at all. All right, we'll step aside. We'll be right back with an improved microphone, we hope.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down to afterwards, was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
I don't know, if Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Here we go. Okay, the Pete Sousa Show is back. We're ready to roll. We fixed our audio issues, we think. And we will start. Okay, are we good? We're good. Hey, all right. All right, so we were talking about the commissioner and his comments yesterday around preseason polls and why there is no Big 12 preseason poll this year. And the commissioner shined a light on his concern that last season, Arizona, starting from the bottom of the pack, in Arizona State, starting on the bottom of the pack in the Big 12's preseason rankings, that it was more difficult for them than, say, I don't know, it would have been, right, for Utah or Oklahoma State, who was picked at the top of the conference, to rocket up to contention early enough in the season and to make an entry into the college football playoff conversation. If you remember, Arizona State was piping hot, but still banging on the door to even get into the conversation into November. And that is concerning for the commissioner, especially when you enter into a time when there's so much parity in the conference, a time when, you know, you've got three teams basically sharing even odds with the potential to win the conference, right? Texas Tech, Kansas State, and Baylor. And then you have juggernauts like we talked about, Utah and Oklahoma State, juggernauts from years past, who you could only imagine or anticipate will be back on top again this year. And then you have contenders like BYU and Colorado who aren't looking to go anywhere. And I think the infrastructure of those teams, right, especially up front for both squads, Colorado and BYU, should make up for the fact that you're losing some sexy skill guys. Jake Retzlaff for BYU, Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter for Colorado. So there's going to be a lot of parity this year, and the commissioner nipped that in the bud right away, talking about the fact that he does not want to sacrifice the possibility of, let's say, a sleeper in the Big 12 making the college football playoff because they begin, as prognosticators, have them at the bottom of the preseason poll. I found that to be very interesting, and I also found that to be insightful and also kind of inspiring as somebody who likes the Big 12 and wants to see it do well, because I believe the commissioner is spot on when we talk about the parity in this league. I was talking before the break about the fact that the Big 12 is so culturally relevant. This morning, and forgive me, okay, I'm kind of like prisoner of the moment Pete right now, but this morning the Big 12 released an announcement, a press release, that the WWE is going to have big-time wrestling events in Big 12 markets before or the night before games. I just took a quick look at it. They're going to start in Dublin before the Pop-Tarts Bowl between Iowa State and Kansas State. And that's going to be in Ireland, right? August 23rd. And then I just looked at some of the dates, like Cincinnati. There'll be a WWE event the night before these college football appointments between Big 12 teams and conference games. So cool, right? Just so cool. And the conference remains so relevant culturally, and it's relevant for young people. And that's the most important thing when you talk about the quality of play. Now, quality of play, right? Texas Tech got in a ton of quality players during the offseason. And having the ability to kind of be in Joey Maguire's orbit yesterday and talk to folks around Texas Tech who cover Texas Tech, it's very clear they are not running from the overwhelming amount of pressure, or should I say what could potentially be an overwhelming amount of pressure on players like Baron Morton, right? Going into the season, if you're the quarterback of this now Rolls-Royce operation, you hop in the car, you take the steering wheel, you just don't want to crash it, right? But that's the conventional wisdom. The reality is that Joey Maguire wants his quarterback to be able to play free, to be able to play fast and loose. And one way that Joey Maguire is going to do this is by taking pressure off of his players. And let's face it, Texas Tech has two new coordinators, by the way. The one guy, their defensive coordinator, I loved this comparison. Let me look it up real quick because I just had it. Let me get his name right. Texas. The guy is, Shell Wood, right? So, or Shell Wood. He is someone who, obviously, I'm not terribly familiar with, but Joey Maguire is comparing to Dave Aranda. That's his defensive coordinator. And it's pretty cool to hear Joey Maguire talk about Dave Aranda because he says my old boss, Dave Aranda. But he says Shell Wood reminds me a ton of Dave Aranda. So you can imagine schematically the defense, as it, according to Joey Maguire, will be right where they need to be to make big plays, right? And to alleviate big plays made by the offense. And offensively, it's very clear that Texas Tech has a lot of things in place where they can be an explosive offense, one of which is Micah Hudson. And Coach Maguire told a story yesterday about sort of like, it sounded like a come to Jesus that he had with Micah Hudson, of course, a local Central Texas product, 5-star wide receiver, went to Texas Tech last year. The freshman season for Micah Hudson did not meet expectations. Simple as that. And Joey Maguire talked about the fact that I met with Micah. He said, I talked to his mom. His mom said, Micah wants to talk to you in person, because there was basically a re-recruitment that was going on. And the two parties met. Joey Maguire got some stuff off his chest where he accepted responsibility. He told Micah Hudson where he had failed him. Micah Hudson was extremely accountable as to where he felt like maybe he had failed the program. And now he's back at Texas Tech. And I have to believe one of the big reasons that Micah Hudson is returning to Texas Tech is, one, because of Joey Maguire, but two, because of the juggernaut that this program has become in the offseason. Whether it is Texas Tech in the headlines, right, where we got a chance to talk to Shahan Jayaraji yesterday about his amazing Texas Tech piece again. And that was a big part or a big conversation piece at Media Day. Obviously, again, all the offseason work and success that Texas Tech has had. But back to Joey Maguire, I look at him and, he's not going to dig in like Bill Walsh on your X's and O's, right? Or like Buddy Ryan defensively for your X's and O's. But he is like the P.T. Barnum of this whole thing, right? Like, I feel like he is just a PR master in a way and the people master. So there's two things that Joey Maguire does for your team, right? I mean, and this is besides the football stuff because the dude knows football. But I, as a man, right, he has a very difficult job this year. He truly does. He has to keep his players and their perspective, like down to planet Earth, because the social media stuff, the expectations, all of the money that has been put behind this Texas Tech program could make it very easy for some of these players to come out of the gate and struggle a little bit, and to mentally have some issues. So Joey Maguire made a statement and made a point yesterday to really get into the fact and to illustrate how he is going to be the guy to take all the pressure off of his players this year, and that he is the one that's going to be accountable for wins and losses. And I thought right away, and I shared this with Scotty, when you think about a college football coach with charisma that can recruit, that understood the game, right? And that also knew that it was very, very possible for them, right, to get all the best coaches in the world. Joey Maguire is Barry Switzer. Boom. I mean, that to me is exactly who he is. Scotty, hell of a job on the graphic, man. I had some of your best work. But really, Barry Switzer was this guy, almost like the Wizard of Oz, right? Where it was like there was so much going on. Part of it was smoke and mirrors, but part of it we're talking about Barry now, was, reality. This amazing bunch of characters like Jamal Holloway, Keith Jackson, Brian Bosworth, right? Spencer Tillman, all these amazing players that would have been, I think this is before, 5-star recruits. Joey Maguire is the same type of guy, right? Barry Switzer from Crossett, Arkansas, right? Joey Maguire, down home Texas guy. He knows exactly the fan base that he needs to impress and achieve for, and obviously he understands the potential and the type of team that Texas Tech could be this year. And I look for Joey Maguire as the head of the snake to diffuse a lot of possible derailment early in the season. Because if Texas Tech doesn't pitch a perfect game through the first 4 weeks of the season, there's going to be issues, right? Couple other things, like notes off the top of my head, like little media day potpourri. Dave Aranda spoke to the media, and one of the first things, and this is sort of melancholy, but I have to say, Dave Aranda, the first couple topics he hit was about the tragedy and the floods in Central Texas, primarily in Kerrville, and if you want to get involved and you want to reach out and connect with the folks at the Salvation Army in Kerrville, all the information is at the bottom of our screen. And Aranda talked about the fact, Dave has 2 daughters, and he talked about just the relatability there for him, right? And the fear and the sadness and the compassion and the empathy he had for those parents. And it was very clear as he went through this, he started to get choked up. And it was like just a tough emotional time. And then the first question he was asked was about the young player who was killed, Alex Foster. So it was like a difficult first couple minutes talking about where we're at right now coming into the football season. Now, when we got to football, it became very clear to me that the one concern of mine, if I'm backing Baylor coming into the season, right, defense, is not a concern of Dave Aranda's. In fact, he said, and I don't know if this is coaching or if it is like coaching as far as trying to coach his guys up, or if this is Dave Aranda really taking a step back and explaining to us in hardcore detail the truth about his defense. Either way, he feels like he's got the best linebacking group that he has ever coached. Okay, now I want you to jump in the time machine with me and just think about some of the linebacking cores he has coached at Wisconsin when he was DC there, at LSU, that 2019 when he was DC and they won a national championship, and even the linebacking core led by Terrell Bernard when he first arrived in his first few years here at Baylor. He feels like Keaton Thomas, Phoenix Jackson, and is it Travion Barnes? Yeah, and Travion Barnes, right? Barnes, who, by the way, didn't even get to play in the spring. He feels like that unit is electric. And the more and more I talked to people from around the country yesterday who came to Big 12 Media Day, folks from ESPN, folks from national publications, folks from local publications. People feel like Keaton Thomas has what it takes to be one of the best linebackers in all of America, not just the Big 12, certainly not just in Central Texas. So as a concern going into the year, and Scotty and I had talked about it, that Baylor's defense is the one thing where you look at them and you say, are they going to be okay? Dave Aranda thinks they're going to be okay, certainly at linebacker. And we haven't even talked about the menace that Jackie Marshall is up front. So I felt really good about Baylor yesterday. Again, this is a media day, and this is Prisoner Pete, PR Pete. So, again, take it all with a grain of salt. But a lot of excitement around that Baylor team. And I had a chance just to chat with Sawyer Robertson really quick. First of all, anytime you see, it's July. Today's July 9th. Yesterday was July 8th. Walking around on turf, the beautiful turf at the Star, and having living, breathing, big-time football players walking around in their pads and uniforms, you get goosebumps. And to be able to, say what's up to Sawyer Robertson and to pat him on the back and to pat him on his shoulder pads, I'm like, let's go, baby. We are getting there. And, I think we're 45 days away from week 0, and you can really feel it. You can just feel it now. One more day at Big 12 Media Day. One more day for everybody at the Star. We are back here. We're going to keep going on the Pete Sousa Show, take a quick break, come back and analyze and assess and share some details from Big 12 Media Days. We're talking about BYU. There's some drama around the Cougars football program right now. There just is. It involves Keanu Tunavasa, who transferred from Utah to BYU. It involves L.J. Martin, who had some comments yesterday about the honor code. And it still involves Jake Retzlaff. What his future will be. The Pete Sousa Show continues after this.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us on our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com. Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator.
I'm Hunter, the founder of Hello Cake, and today we're digging into ED meds. The number one thing we hear is that guys are sick of waiting for ED meds to kick in. Traditional ED meds take about an hour to kick in as they have to go through your digestive system, where Hello Cake's ED medication dissolves under your tongue and works in about 15 minutes. That's about 3 times faster than traditional ED medication. Curious about ED meds? Go to hellocake.com.
InMotion is more than just a name. It's a legacy of innovation. From supplying electric vehicle parts like motors and inverters since the 1960s to creating cutting-edge electric scooters, hoverboards, and unicycles, InMotion is shaping the future of mobility. Whether you're looking for industrial power solutions or accessible personal transport, InMotion has you covered. Explore our products and experience the future of movement. Visit store.inmotionworld.com today.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files, remove malware and viruses, and protect your device. It also optimizes your Mac's hard disk, fixes disk permission issues, and cleans memory, all to boost your Mac's performance to the max. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
Finding a sleep sack that my baby likes has been a struggle. The sleep sack from Joy is a major upgrade.
It's all natural eucalyptus, which is breathable and hypoallergenic, which is really great for your baby's sensitive skin.
And it's Movie Climatech, which regulates your baby's temperature.
You can also get Joy's crib sheets, which are made of the same super soft material.
Joy gave my baby comfort
and gave me peace of mind.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Maud Lily is your go-to for stylish and affordable fashion that fits your life. Whether you're looking for the perfect swimsuit for a beach day, a chic dress for a night out, or cozy tops for everyday wear, Maud Lily has it all. Their extensive collection of swimwear, including bikinis, tankinis, and one-pieces, always keeps you on trend, while their dresses and tops come in flattering styles for every occasion. Visit maudlily.com today.
The Pete Sousa Show rolls on right now as we're taking a look back at yesterday. I was at Big 12 Media Days at the Star in Frisco. Action-packed event, and it was an electric atmosphere, and that has become, the word electric has become synonymous with the Big 12, particularly since Brett Yormark took over as commissioner in 2022, and particularly shortly thereafter when BYU entered the fray and Utah entered the fray. And man, I mean, if that game last year, for those of us who haven't been around BYU and Utah forever, like conference-wise, that rivalry last year when we saw that win for BYU on the road in Utah in the Holy War, and the way that it went down, Utah's AD afterwards, just to reiterate that rivalry that the Flames were stoked in once again last year is still alive and well. Keanu Tanavasa was talking to media yesterday. Standout defensive lineman, was in the conversation to enter the NFL draft, chose not to enter the NFL draft. He chose to transfer, to defect from from Utah, to go down the road to play at BYU. Now, he said the fact of the matter was it wasn't about the NIL. It was more about football than anything. But he also said that over the summer, over the past few weeks, months or so, he went to a teammate's wedding. He said this on a radio interview, ESPN 700. And he said basically it was hard. He went to a former teammate's wedding now from Utah. And he said a lot of guys, I'm paraphrasing now, but he said it was tough. He made it sound like it was awkward, and that he said guys were, quote, still bitter at him for leaving and going to BYU. Now, after that interview, and we know college football, the fan bases are rabid, right? And that's why we love it. But the Utah fan base caught wind of that and really kind of went after him on social media, to the point where I was standing right in front of him yesterday, and he had to, I guess, back off that a little bit. And here was the comment that he made to all of us when we were kind of hanging around him at some of those breakout sessions. He said, I would say, this is a quote, I would say I misspoke, or at least I misconstrued in the way that I meant it. I just tried to say in my time at Utah, I felt there were areas that I dedicated myself and had given my all to the university at the time. And I guess it was wrong, because it maybe sounded like I was comparing it with other people. I especially wasn't comparing it to people. Kalani Sitake actually spoke up, and he urged fans to try to see where Keanu Tanavasa was coming from. And I thought that was pretty cool. You know, nothing like seeing a coach get their players back, especially a new player. This is nothing more to me than well, first of all, it is more, because Keanu Tanavasa talked about how, and I have the quote here, He faced the social media criticism from fans about his decision to leave Utah, but also says he emotionally broke down for weeks after transferring from Utah to BYU. So he said he sacrificed, and he doesn't want to sound prideful, but he really sacrificed a lot more than some guys were willing to. This is what he was talking about his teammates at Utah, and that relates to the quote that I just read. But bad blood between BYU and Utah, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. More on BYU. By the way, the Utes are going to be in the house today in Frisco, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure Kyle Whittingham will diffuse any of that if he's asked it, but maybe some of the Utah players might comment on that. I'm sure they'll be asked about it, so we'll keep you abreast of what's happening there. So for BYU, I was there, guys, on the ground floor yesterday. So you can say you know more than me or message boards or what have you. Look, there is still like a mystery around Jake Retzlaff. And talking to, so I don't want to say who I was talking to, but just talking to a couple of really prominent writers yesterday, they were still talking about like the thread of mystery that weaves through the Jake Retzlaff story right now and like where he's going to be next year. Obviously, a suspension would exist if he were to stay at BYU. I'm not saying that he's going to stay at BYU, but there's nothing that has happened officially as far as him actually leaving the program and going to play football somewhere else, right? Outside of word of mouth. And there is also the possibility that his teammates are in the dark. LJ Martin said yesterday, he also was asked about the honor code, and I'll talk about that in a second, but LJ Martin was asked yesterday, what is the status of Jake Retzlaff? Have you been told that he is still with the team? So this is less than 24 hours ago. So, I love BYU fans, but please don't tell me that you know more than I do. I was sat right there, okay? You may have inklings, but I got evidence. LJ Martin spoke yesterday and said, I haven't heard anything from him about it, so I'm leaving it up to him. That was as to whether or not Jake Retzlaff was going to be or still was on the team. I was sort of surprised by that. I was taken back a little. I thought, man, I thought this was a little more official. And then, of course, now we look at when you get down logistically, again, having conversations with people who know more than me yesterday, I had read this, but it would appear that BYU has to get involved in order to allow Jake Retzlaff to play football this year. So if I were to, now we're into speculation, which is another word for guessing, but if I had to guess, I would say that right now they're in the logistical process where BYU would do what they needed to do to release Jake to play this year. Because if certain standards aren't met logistically, he would have to sit out all this year because you can't just transfer and hop right in and play because the transfer portal window closed on April 25th. So, again, the BYU-Utah rivalry alive and well, still a little drama swirling around BYU. The good news for the Cougars is, and I mentioned this off the top of the show, the infrastructure of that team, all the way down from the coaching staff, they're in pretty good shape. That's going to be a really good football team. And I think even if you lose Jake Retzlaff, again, talking to people yesterday, nobody's blown away by his skill set as a quarterback. We're blown away by his skill set and his abilities as a leader, but you have to imagine after the breaking of the honor code, right? Is that leadership skill set still going to be intact at BYU? I mean, it wouldn't be. And I'm not saying he's going to go back there and play. I'm just saying, like, there's still a cloud of mystery around this. Like when I used to be in the news business, we would start off news stories and say, police have more questions than answers this morning. I feel like that's where we're at with where Jake Retzlaff's future lies. And one more thing on the Retzlaff piece. LJ Martin was asked about yesterday about the honor code. And he said, look, and he was a straight shooter. He said, I'm not a member of the church, but I'm a Christian. And he said, so as a Christian, it's easy for me to adhere to said honor code, right? And he basically made it sound like, and again, if I were to interpret, he wasn't necessarily, I think these guys are kind of bummed at what happened with Jake Retzlaff. And I think they're kind of, I don't want to say bitter and get into like all kinds of pointed stuff, but I think that they are disappointed in their teammate, and they're disappointed with the state of affairs right now, heading into the season. Now, I think they will get over that, right? I think they'll move past it. But the fact of the matter is, like, there's a lot of changes, right, emotionally and on the football field. So BYU obviously has its work cut out for it. Now, one team that there's a ton of excitement around is Arizona State. And Kenny Dillingham made a really good point. Talking to us yesterday, particularly talking to my boys on TuneIn Radio, Ari Temkin and James Westling. Westling's a buddy of mine. Temkin, we go way back. Maybe I'll tell that story another day. But great dudes, they do a great job. And when they talked to Kenny Dillingham yesterday, I was right within an earshot. And Dillingham mentioned that it's so interesting because last year, if you listened to all the noise, you thought we sucked. And this year, if you listen to all the noise, you think we're great, right? He said, we've got to get all that noise out and just play football. And one concern I have around Arizona State is not necessarily the noise, but the hype around Sam Leavitt. And I will say he alleviated some of that, some of my concerns about Leavitt yesterday. Dillingham did when he talked about the work that young dude has put in and some of the things that they're doing for Sam Leavitt to advance him as a quarterback. And the main thing he talked about was footwork. He said that on first and second downs, there was some inefficiency from Sam Leavitt last year, and a lot of it was relating to his footwork in the pocket. And so Sam Leavitt has dove in, right? He has dove in to tape, not only Arizona State tape from last year to find out where maybe he was ineffective, but NFL tape to look at other quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks that you can have out there, right? But they got a chance to look at, or he got a chance to look at other quarterbacks, some of the best in the business, to see how they do it with their footwork. And I found that to be pretty encouraging. You hope he doesn't tweak his game too much because there was a ton of success that came with it last year. But you appreciate the fact that it's clear that this guy is working harder than ever to get better, and he's not putting his feet up. One guy who had to put his feet up at the end of last year was Jordan Tyson, okay? And he was a guy that got injured late in the season, was not able to play in the college football playoff against Texas, but enters this year as one of the most hyped wide receivers in the country. And seeing him yesterday and having watched him last year, he's bigger and he's stronger this year. And the folks around Arizona State say he's 1.5 miles per hour faster this year. He's been clocked at, right? And he's been working with Ashton Genty in the Dallas area this offseason. And it's clear that the coaching staff at Arizona State and Jordan Tyson's teammates at Arizona State are really happy with his progress and are beyond excited to get a chance to watch him play this year. One of the best wide receivers in the country, certainly a guy who is slated to make a lot of money in the NFL. That's a dude we got to ask McShay about the next time we talk to Todd. There's a couple guys. Keaton Thomas is another one from Baylor who we got to kind of figure out where these guys are going to the next level. But I will say, I heard somebody say, I forget exactly who I was talking to, but we talk so much about quarterbacks and their NFL potential. I mean, at the end of the day, we just want them to be great college quarterbacks, right? Like, we're invested in what's going on Saturdays in the fall, not Sundays in the fall. I mean, some of us are, but that's a different conversation. All right, we'll take one last break. We'll come back with some final thoughts surrounding Big 12 football, Big 12 Media Days. The Pete Sousa Show continues after this. We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Easy Sun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with Easy Sun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com. Stay connected no matter where you are with eSIM-X. Say goodbye to expensive roaming charges and physical SIM cards. With access to over 200 global carriers, we make mobile connectivity seamless and affordable for travelers worldwide. Join the future of communication today at eSIMX.com. That's ESIMX.com.
And now, back to our show. Pete Sousa's show rolls on here. We are live from the Alico building. We are presented by Slovacics. A lot to get excited about, talking a lot about the Big 12 and Media Days. One thing I can tell you, Rich Clark, the executive director of the College Football Playoff, was in the building yesterday. And Rich Clark was able to share with us when asked about the College Football Playoff and, hey, is it computers or should we go to computers and not a human system, right? This is what Rich Clark was asked. Now, Rich Clark is a former lieutenant, right? A service member. I'm not exactly sure what branch, but the guy is a military veteran and a leader of men. And he talked about the fact that people need to be involved in this process. And he was asked why. And he said, look, when we go to war, right? Specifically, he referenced war, okay? He said, when we go to war, you need the human element involved. You absolutely need the human element to get through the weeds and find out some of the details and information and vibes, right, that computers can't find out. And I found that to be so interesting because, look, man, when you talk about like stuff that's just well beyond my pay grade, it is the United States military, the Defense Department, and how some of those brilliant, brave men and women go to battle and the blueprint behind it. And it was pretty cool to hear him illustrate the fact that there is a human element that is necessary to this, and that there are going to be no changes as far as that is concerned anytime soon. I mentioned Kenny Dillingham. One thing I really need to get into. He was asked if he would compare his coaching style to a coach or an actor, right? And Kenny Dillingham said he would pick Gordon Bombay all the way. Bombay all the way is what he said. I think that is a lights out comparison. He said it off the top of his head, talking to James and Ari. He sort of tried to take it back. He was talking to the guys from the Big 12, the tuning guys. But eventually he went with it, right? Eventually he dove in. All right, one more thing. I wanted to bring in Scotty for this because there was so much excitement around Baylor yesterday. And Scotty mentioned to me just moments ago that if Baylor doesn't win 10 games, that he will be very disappointed, right?
Oh, no.
That's what you said, right?
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right, so let's just do this real quick.
That's what I said.
We've got 6 minutes left, okay? We're going to go.
Let me just put this Dave Aranda quote back up for the context.
This is the most talented team I've been since I've been at Baylor. Dave Aranda. This is him yesterday. And he had a team that won the Sugar Bowl, folks. Okay? Let's not forget that. Week 1, August 29th, Friday night.
We're going to win by 3 touchdowns.
Okay, right now you're a 2.5-point underdog.
Yeah, Vegas is wrong.
1-0. Week 2, 11 a.m., Gerald Ford Stadium, SMU. Win or loss?
Oh, we're winning that game too.
2-0. Samford, win. 3-0. Okay, here we go. September 20th, Saturday, Arizona State.
That is the game.
Win or loss?
Win.
4-0. Oklahoma State in Stillwater.
Big win.
5-0. Kansas State at McLean. October 4th.
That one, we'll call that 50-50.
Okay, so
Kansas State to me is the biggest wild card in the conference.
I agree. 5-1. TCU in Fort Worth.
Loss.
TCU is one of my 5-2.
Loss. Yeah.
Cincinnati in Ohio.
Big win.
7-2. UCF at McLean.
Big win.
8-2. Utah at McLean.
Big win.
9-2. Arizona in Tucson.
Huge win.
10-2. Houston at McLean.
Win by 5 touchdowns.
11-2. And let me tell you something, bro. I got some buy-in on that. That sounds pretty good.
Come on, man. I mean, this is the thing. We will know what's possible within those first 4 weeks. Because how you perform against, you've got 3 of the best 4 teams, maybe arguably the 3 best teams on your schedule in the first 4 games.
Yeah.
Depending on how SMU comes back out this year, who knows? I think they're kind of a wild card too. Auburn, you know, it's just that SEC talent, big power.
Yeah.
And then Arizona State, I mean, kind of your repeating champion, right? Like,
yeah, look, I was talking to John Morris yesterday for a while, and I said, look, J-Mo, I think that the key is for all of us that pull for this program is not to become apoplectic if we're 0-2. Like, because that.
Oh, I will.
Well, but here's well, look. I'm telling you, if you go 0-2, right? You're playing one team that was in the college football playoff last year, and another SEC team who, again, you want to talk wild cards. We're not quite sure what we're going to see from Auburn, but I can. But
the best team in the Big 12 can't lose to a middle team in the SEC if they're going to be all this culturally relevant stuff we're talking.
Well, and we talked yesterday about this because some people still did say that there remains a perception problem.
Yep.
For the Big 12.
So you have to win in these non-conference matches.
Yeah,
you have to.
So that's, dude.
You have to. Yeah. I think beating Auburn is more important for Baylor than beating SMU.
I agree. I 100%. And it's actually would be a win for the conference. Big time.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're the Big 12, Brett Yormark, you're circling that game. Big time.
Big time.
Big time. What are the guys saying? Anybody have anything legitimate? Has Scotty B told us when Ashton Genty is going to be cleared?
Ashton Hawkins. Ashton Genty's cleared, man. He's playing for the Raiders. He said, I think the quote is Dave Aranda said we'll know any day. He's telling us about the break dance he's going to do if Ashton Hawkins is clear.
Scotty, we will run that break dance.
Woo!
You have my word on it, dude. You send us that video. You post it on Twitter. We'll do the hard work. Scotty will pull it down, right?
Let's go. It's Scotty B's time on the Pete Sousa Show.
Yeah, that will be a lot of fun.
No, dude. No. Okay, here's getting back to – I didn't expect to go through the schedule like that. I think between TCU and Kansas State, you probably lose one of those games. I think those are both huge trap games because you're going to come off that gauntlet at the beginning. You're going into a stretch there towards the end where you should win all your games the back half of the schedule, especially that UCF and Cincinnati, like – back-to-back, that should be Those Kansas State at home and TCU on the road games are huge trap games. And TCU, by the way, we're in like year 11 of it doesn't matter how good or bad TCU and Baylor are. They always play close. TCU usually gets the best of Baylor, which I hate, and the underdog wins often. So, like, in Fort Worth, I'm not counting that as a sure win.
But backtrack with me, just to kind of put a bow on my point. They could go 0-2, and they could still make the college football playoff.
Yeah, but you'd have to win your conference at that point.
Yeah. You'd have to get into the Big 12 playoff, I mean, the Big 12 championship.
You'd have to, if you go 0-2 against Auburn and SMU, you have to win the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
If Baylor went 0-2, undefeated through conference, and loses in the title game, I don't think they put a 3-loss Big 12 title loser in.
Yeah.
I think the way Yormark gets his 2 teams in the playoff like he wants is Baylor's in the championship game with 1 loss, and Iowa State, who Baylor's not playing in the regular season, also gets into the championship game with 1 loss. And then you've got a 1-loss champion and a 2-loss runner-up to get in.
Yeah.
That's the scenario. Or an undefeated champ, let's say Baylor's undefeated and loses in the championship game. Then you get in. Like, I don't think a 3-loss Big 12 team gets in.
You know what my prediction is?
What's your prediction?
And it's funny, before the season, I did that Big 12 schedule release show. And I remember right away there was like disappointment around the fact that Baylor and Texas Tech weren't going to play.
I'm bummed about that.
Well, I think they might.
You think that's happening?
I think.
Do you know how hype that would be?
Look,
they would sell that building out.
I think there's a very real. One of the guys from the Big 12 told me that was their prediction yesterday. I think like it's a viable option.
Yeah, those are both. And they're so, we've talked so much about Tech's NIL, and Baylor's been a little, I think, more under the radar with that stuff, but doing a good job. Those are both fan bases that want to absolutely murder these coaches if they don't produce this year. I mean, seriously, like I think Joey Maguire might have a slightly longer leash, but if Tech wins 8 games again after the offseason they just had, he is going to be dragged big time. Baylor fans feel like Aranda's underperformed a couple times. And overperformed once.
Yeah.
You've said it's your best roster. Everyone thinks it's the best quarterback in the conference. Everyone knows it's the best running back in the conference. Jake Spavital is the best offensive mind you've had on staff at Baylor since Art Briles himself. He is.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, I think less than 3rd place in the conference. I will be unbearable on this show.
Well, and by the way, please bear with me. We'll crank back up. Are we going to do an episode before the fall?
We'll start in August.
Okay. Terrence back?
Yeah, we'll start in August.
So you, Terrence Ganaway, and a rotating guest?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah.
By the way, you can get Please Bear With Me. The show is up online on the Rogue Media Network.
Hey, we've got 98 subscribers, so if 2 of you want to go subscribe to Please Bear With Me on YouTube, we'll have 100 before the season even starts.
There we go, baby. There we go. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We'll be back tomorrow. We appreciate everybody that's watching all over the globe. Really, I was talking to people yesterday, and we literally had people come up asking to sponsor the show. So that is good, okay? We'll be back tomorrow and better than ever. Thanks, Slovacics. Have a great day.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.